There are three things you need to keep in mind after this talk. First, Odoo is the best solution to allow manufacturers to focus on their core business. Second, managing the production has never been so easy as it is now in Odoo 17.
And third and last point, we know that ChatGPT is in the bookmarks of a lot of us, and if you saw the keynote of Fabia, you know that it's also fully integrated in Odoo. However, we do want to stress that we prepared this talk without any help of AI. We really did pour our heart and soul into it. Hi, my name is Milana, and I'm here together with Lucas, and we are both manufacturing experts here at Odoo. So, what are you in for with our talk? Well, first, we will talk about some unavoidable problems we have faced in the recent years in the manufacturing world, but of course not without giving you all the tools to overcome them. But our talk, however, will only give you a helicopter view of all the new and amazing features of Odoo 17, but we will recommend the talks that you definitely shouldn't miss out on, where our colleagues will really deep dive into all these features. And afterwards, we will gladly take some time to go over your questions, and for that, I would like to ask you to scan the following QR code. This will bring you directly to the pad, and you can leave all your questions there. So go ahead and scan, but we'll definitely show it afterwards as well.
All right, not to put a bummer on this amazing conference, but let's get back to the problems we are facing in the last years. I'm going to start mentioning the main one, supply chain shortages. Many materials became scarce, and this resulted in a shortage of a lot of components for lots of industries. And a good example of that is the lack of semiconductors that we are still facing today. However, this is not just a problem on itself, because another very unfortunate consequence of less components available is inflation. A study published by one of the big four consulting companies shows that 71% of CEOs highlighted that raw material costs are their #1 supply chain challenge for this and the next year. But if that doesn't sound bad enough, say Milana, what do you think could be even worse than the two previous points?
Well, not to make things worse, but unfortunately the two issues combined. And before you say that we must be exaggerating, let's remember the ship that got stuck at the Suez Canal. For almost 3 entire months, the whole canal was blocked. And this resulted in a less than 10% of the world's commerce being negatively affected. And this because some ships was stuck there somewhere in Egypt. This resulted in around $10 billion losses worldwide. So, what is it that we want to say by all of this? Well, as you can see, running a business has become incredibly challenging over the recent years. And given the market that is so volatile and unpredictable, managers should dedicate majority of their time defining strategies and really adapting them whenever is needed, as the current environment is so everly changing.
What does that mean?
Well, Lucas, the issue is that in reality, these managers are spending majority of their time on technical issues. They are fully immersed in these operational problems, and that makes it that they don't just stand still and focus on what really matters, their core business. And on top of that, as Lucas said, we're camping with inflation, the costs are rising, so companies don't have a lot of funds anymore or less funds available to reinvest in their companies, so less budget for internal improvement initiatives such as digital transformation. So that is why now more than ever, it doesn't make any sense to embark on endless ERP implementations and burn a lot of money on very expensive solutions.
Well, I know this all doesn't sound so positive, and you must be thinking to yourself, things are bad, we get it, so what should I do then? Well, that's why exactly we are here today. You need to choose a tool that will help you run your business more efficiently and make our problems disappear. You need to choose Odoo. But now you might be wondering, why Odoo? Of course they will say that, they work for Odoo. But let's take a look at why, objectively, Odoo is the solution to your headaches. So first of all, what makes Odoo such a powerful software is the fact that it enhances the integration of processes. So this makes the life of any manager easier. Why? Because having quality and real-time information across all departments helps them whenever they need to make a decision. And contrary to popular belief on the market, your software does not have to put a dent in your budget. And this is another reason why Odoo is the best solution. Compared to other players of the market, Odoo is incredibly affordable. So you can put your money towards what's really important, investing in innovation and further digital transformation.
Now, Lucas, they must be thinking that we're trying to paint a perfect picture. But I mean, if you ask us, we're just stating some facts. But nothing is perfect, and it's true that it's impossible to have one software that covers all industries and all verticals. And I mean, you'll be right in thinking so, but we do have that something extra here at Odoo that makes us come quite close to it. And if you ask us why, well, it's very simple. It's an extremely flexible ERP system, and not just as a system in general, especially when it comes to manufacturing. As I've said, the market is very volatile, so now more than ever, it's crucial that you are able to adapt your manufacturing process on the go as the problems arise. And I'm also not talking only about managers. Odoo 17 is all about creating a user-friendly interface that gives power to your employees and the workers on the floor. They will be able to adapt their process and whatever they're doing on the fly as they encounter any possible problem. All right, now we've made a lot of statements, and we've said before that it's impossible to have a software that covers all industries, and I mean, that's true. But we also always say that any company can use Odoo from any industry. And to prove our point, we will show you 3 completely unrelated companies from very different industries, and we'll show you how Odoo can make all their problems go away. Lucas, do you want to start off with Odoo Wings?
Yeah. Right, so Odoo Wings is a startup, and they are producing a very innovative product, which is a flying car. They produce according to the logic of make to order, meaning that they only start production as soon as they have a confirmed demand from their customers. And a very important aspect of their business is the repair. However, Odoo Wings, they are struggling currently with the following pain points. They don't have a major production process, and this is normal. They are a startup, they are still fine-tuning the manufacturing. And they are also struggling with resource assignation, meaning that they don't know exactly who is doing what, where, and when. And as repair, as I said, is a very important point of their business, they are still struggling to have a decent after-sales process. So let's take a look in the database and see how the new features of Odoo 17 will help Odoo Wings to solve their problems. Right, I'm going to start showing here the shop floor that we are going to talk about, because producing a car is very complex and it's a very long production process, so we are going to focus here only about the parts. So to produce doors and the trunk. The shop floor is divided in 4 work centers, so we have assembly area, 2 welding areas, and the painting one. And to just explain a bit more about the bill of materials, let's take the right door as an example. We have 2 operations only, assembly and welding, right? And we have some components, and they are consumed in different operations. So the 4 first components, they are consumed in the assembly one, and the hinges are consumed in the welding area. That being said, let's take a look here at the manufacturing orders that we have so far. We have 1 to produce the trunk, 1 to produce the left door, and there will be a 3rd one right now to produce the right door. So I will create here a manufacturing order to produce the right door. And the first new feature I want to show you today is now the possibility to assign employees to process the work order. So you have a more accurate planning now. Thanks to this new option that you have here, you can add the column assigned. And in my case, I'm saying that Helen and Sandra will work assembling the door, and for the welding, I'm going to assign Paul, right? And as soon as I do that, if I go back here to my list of manufacturing orders, as you can see, I have enough components to start my production of left and right door. However, the trunk, I cannot start right now because I don't have all components. And the reason why Odoo shows here the expected availability for the 13th, so next week, is because I already have a purchase order to receive this missing component. And this leads us to the second new feature I want to show you right now, which is the possibility to plan my manufacturing orders according to the capacity or the availability of my components. When I do this, and I move to my planning by production, we can easily see that my 2 manufacturing orders where I'm supposed to produce the doors because I have all components are planned straight away and I can start today. However, the manufacturing order to produce my trunk is automatically planned for the next week. So this makes the planning much more efficient because why should I book my work center today if I will not be able to produce my trunk, right? But this is not all. Talking about planning, if I move to the planning by work center, what I want to show you here is another new feature, which is the possibility to see the allocation of my work center according to the percentage. And of course, according to the time frame you select here. This is very easy, and then you can see how booked you are for a specific moment. But the main point here I want to emphasize is, as I assigned employees to process my work orders, I can add here the possibility to see my planning per employee. And then the pain point that Odoo Wings had in order to see who is doing what, when, and where is finally solved thanks to this new possibility to plan your work orders using your employees. Of course, this is just a brief introduction about this topic. If you want to learn more, there will be another talk later this afternoon given by Anna, and she will deep dive about the manufacturing in the employee level. Okay. Right, quick recap. We created the manufacturing order, we assigned the employees, we planned everything, so now it's time to execute and produce our doors. So far, what I've been showing are new features, and if you remember what we said in the beginning, Odoo 17 is all about user-friendly and flexibility. So this is why now we have a brand new app called Shopfloor. This app, the purpose of this app is to give the possibility to manage your manufacturing execution system, meaning the interactions that you have in real time between the workers on the shop floor and Odoo. Now, I will start here explaining what I can do when I have my shop floor. First, as I said in the beginning, I will not explain the whole production of my car, but at least here in this shop floor, I have 4 work centers: the assembly, the weldings, and the painting. If I want to see more work centers, I could add them easily here. And I will start assigning the employees or logging in with the employees that will process our work orders.
Lucas, can I just interrupt for a second? Because I think we're talking about this new app, and you're logging in here. Is it true that so you can log in as any user having just one tablet across different lines?
Yeah, as you can add the work centers according to your need, you can have only one tablet in your shop floor if you need. And then as soon as the employee arrives to process the work orders, they can simply add themselves here in the login, and they will start producing what they need to do.
Super useful.
Yeah, indeed. Well, that being said, as you can see here, we have Helen and Sandra already logged in. And to start the work order is very, very easy. You can simply click here on the header, as I'm logged in as Helen. I go first to the work center where I'm supposed to work. As I'm logged in as Helen, I click here, and the timer is running for Helen right now. And as I said, she's going to work with Sandra at the same time, so I will just click here on Sandra, and the time is running for her as well. And of course, this is a real-time interaction between Odoo and the employees, so they need to start producing the door. They will grab some components, assemble them, and to record the consumption of these components is very, very easy now in this new shop floor app. With only one click, you see, I'm saying to Odoo that I'm consuming these components. Easier than that, impossible.
Lucas, but maybe for those who are wondering and they are so used to use the tablet view, what about the tablet view? Maybe I have instructions I want to check or any steps that I need to follow. What about that?
Yeah, that's a very good question because I think all of you know very well the tablet view. That's a great feature, but as Odoo 17 is all about flexibility, we preferred to change a bit the way of processing the work orders in order to give more flexibility to the workers. So you don't need to stay all the time seeing the same information in your tablet. So this is why now you have more freedom to navigate throughout work orders, record the consumption of components, and answering your question. If you still want to see the instructions, you can always click on this option here, worksheet, and then you see the instructions you need to follow in order to perform your manufacturing order.
No panic.
Okay. Right, I will finish here the first operation, which is the assembly. Now it's time to move to the next work center, which is the welding. And if you remember well, in this case, I assigned Paul to work on it, right? So I am Paul. I arrive here in my welding area, but I see that my colleagues are still doing something. So the work center is booked. I cannot do my task here. So now in Odoo 17, it's very easy to move the task that was booked previously to be done in welding area 1A to another work center. So I can simply click here on these three buttons, say that I'm moving this to welding area 1B, and voila, my operation will be recorded in the right work center. And as I said, I will record the consumption of my 2 hinges that I'm welding. And maybe you are asking, what about the quality checks? Because in the end, it's very important to make sure that my doors are following the correct steps and so on. We kept the same flexibility or the user friendliness here. So when you have a quality check which is pass and fail, you can simply click on the icon and Odoo will assume which in this case was a pass. But sometimes we need to input information, because if we need to measure the space between hinges, when I click here on the icon, for instance, Odoo displays still here the worksheet, and I need to say that this was perfectly 60 millimeters between each other, and I validate my quality check. I'm good. I finished my second operation, but then accidentally the door got scratched, and it's normal. As I said, they are a startup, they are making mistakes, they are evolving. So this is why now I still can come here and say that for this manufacturing order, I need to ask my colleague who is in the painting area to fix the scratch. Okay. So easily I create a new operation on the fly, fix scratch, and I will assign this operation to the painting area 1. And as you can see, now the person who is in the painting area will receive the information that they have a new task to be done. I will log in here as Catherine, and she will easily fix this scratch, as she is very efficient, of course. So she logs here, she processes what needs to be done, and that's it.
Wow, Lucas, I mean, this sounds amazing. I think you all can agree. But if I remember correctly, they were also struggling with after sales.
Yeah.
What's the solution there?
Before I move to the after sales, just to mention that I only showed the main features here about the shop floor. Just after this talk, there will be another one given by the product owner, Mathieu, and he will explain all the amazing features that we have here on the shop floor app.
Okay.
Right, so let's go and see what is happening in terms of after sales services, because they have a repair, and they were struggling with a situation that is annoying. Their clients were booking appointments to go to their facilities to get something fixed, but as they were not managing well the inventory, many times the client arrived, they didn't have the spare parts, and the client had to go away and book another appointment. So horrible.
That's a bummer.
Now, this is part of the past, because if we see what we have here in the repair now, imagine a client came, Leonard, and he said that he needs to replace the seat belts. So our technician took notes here saying that the seat belts need to be replaced. It's already added here in the task that both seat belts on the driver and the passenger side needs to be replaced. And in advance, I can see that I don't have these seat belts in stock, thanks to this new field here that displays the integration between the repair app and inventory. But this is not only about checking my stock, it's more than that, because the person who is in charge of procurement, if they use here the inventory app by checking the replenishment dashboard, they will see in advance with enough time that they need to buy these 2 seat belts, so they will trigger here the replenishment.
And Lucas, I mean, this sounds amazing, the integration with inventory, but about repairs, I mean, we were already able to add and remove features, but what about components that I might want to reuse that I don't want to throw away or scrap?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Milana, because usually until version 16, the options that we had here were more focused on the situations in which we cannot reuse something that we are removing from the product we are repairing, which is okay. But now we have more flexibility, because if I see that I'm checking here the seat belt on the driver's side and it's okay, I can reuse it in the future, I have a third new option, which is here recycle. So I can say that now I will send this product back to stock to be reused, and the other one, let's say on the passenger side, is completely torn, so I will not reuse it, I will just scrap. So I keep using the same option, which is remove. And as soon as I close this repair order, I can see here in my stock moves that the product that was completely torn indeed go to scrap location directly, but the other one that was still in good situation goes back to stock, and I can reuse it in the future.
Okay, perfect. I think we'll be happy with that.
Yeah.
Sounds great. All right, well, Lucas, thank you so much. You seem to have the answers to all problems. As we said, for any company that is struggling a bit with how mature their production process is, or they are still a bit like learning on the go, these will be problems of the past, because with the new shop floor application, you have full flexibility to organize your production process on the fly as you like. And for when it comes to resource assignation, which can be challenging sometimes as well, once you have a perfect overview of what needs to be done in terms of work orders, you will now very easily be able to assign your employees and also have a very good overview of what the human capital is needed for the production of the week, for example. And if any clients were struggling with after-sales issues, with the new fully integrated feature of the repair application with inventory, this will be a problem of the past as well. All right, so this was it for Odoo Wings, but then we also have a client, Solar Odoo, and this is a mid-sized company, and they produce solar panels. So it's really an engineering to order process, and they are producing a very high-tech product. So it's very project oriented, and at the same time, since they are constantly improving their product, they oftentimes don't have predefined bills of material. So they're kind of constructing the different constructions for the prototypes as they go along. And again, producing very high-tech products, obviously cost tracking is very important, and they have a bit of a struggle organizing themselves in an efficient way. And same goes for the quality. So let's take a look at how we can solve all their issues in Odoo. Okay.
No worries.
All right. So let's take a look. So let's first see what are the products that we have. So here we see that we produce spatial solar panels. We have a lot of different components that we will use to construct our prototypes as we are producing them. And as I said, they are very project oriented. So if we take a look at our project app, you see that we have here 3 projects for 3 different clients. We have the European Spatial Agency, we have SpaceX, and NASA. Okay, so I just quickly want to show you how in a simple click you have a perfect overview of what the states and the status of your projects are, be it all the sales orders related, the timesheeting, any type of cost that is linked to it. So you have a perfect overview, and I'll come back to this in a bit. Okay, but let's take a look at our production process. So we come here, and it's a bit weird because I can see that I have an open production order here that was supposed to be started yesterday. And usually as I start my day with my engineering team, I don't have any open manufacturing orders. So my other team must have been working on it, but I'll show you how in a single click, again, I'll be able to tell what exactly went wrong there using our amazing manufacturing overview. So some of you have already used this, and you know that this overview gives you a perfect estimate, not only when you can expect your components, but also when you can expect to finish your finished production. Anytime there is any change in terms of new purchase order or whatnot, the dates were here updated based on the lead time setup, right? So you also have the quantities on hand and so forth. Now, since this is such a powerful tool, we wanted to take it a step further. We wanted to make an interface for you that is even more powerful by, again, integrating it better with the inventory. From now on, if you notice, like in this case, that you have components that you still need to order, you will be able to do so without leaving your manufacturing, without leaving your manufacturing overview directly here. Again, as I said, like reacting to any issue that comes along directly on the fly, this is what we're talking about. So you'll be able to replenish directly from here, set your quantities. I'll just confirm here, but don't miss out the talk of Anna, because she will show you what the power of this manufacturing overview is. So make sure to tune in for her talk. I can just go ahead, confirm, And we see here that a purchase order is automatically created. So I know that my team will be able to continue on this production order later on. So I'm in a bit more luck because I do have all my components on hand, so I can go ahead and create a new manufacturing order for my spatial solar panel. And I always produce 2 at the time because sometimes one might be defect and then I at least have luck with my other one. So I always produce in pairs of 2. I don't have a bill of material because I'm kind of designing my perfect prototype. So I just on the fly with my engineers, I'm adding a couple of components here. So I'll need 10 of my aluminium sheets. I'll also need some charge controllers. I'll need 5 of those. And I will also need some monocrystallines, and I'll use 4 of them. Okay, so we have added all the components and we can go ahead and confirm the manufacturing order. Now, before I move on from the manufacturing overview, there is one extra feature that I want to show you. Again, we thought about, okay, this is already a very powerful tool. We wanted to take it a step further with integrating it with inventory. But there's another very important aspect when it comes to your production process, especially for a company like Engineering to Order, it's the cost tracking. From now on, you will be able to see the estimated cost of your production as you are producing them. As you are adding, removing components, your expected cost will already be updated. So you have a real-time information of how much this production order is already costing you, which is great. And remember here that the cost currently is estimated to be 10,000 euros. I'll come back to this in a bit as well. All right. That being said, let's go back to my manufacturing order. I have here 2 transfers, and I asked my colleagues to go and bring the components from stock to my production line, so I can just go ahead and validate this transfer, and then I can start my production process. We did everything that is needed, so I can just go ahead and produce my 2 components. My 2 satellites, and here I see that now that I've produced, I can go ahead and store away my products. Now, what is important for me is obviously my quality checks, and you can see here that before I can store away both of my components, I have to do a quality check. I have here some instructions of the things that I have to check, and unfortunately one prototype, the wiring is a bit off, so I want to tell that we have to check the wiring, so check the wiring.
Milena, sorry for interrupting, but you said that only one is not in a good shape,
yeah.
So if you fail this quality check, what is going to happen? You are scrapping both of them?
No, Lucas. Those are things from the past.
Okay.
In Odoo 17, we are all about giving you control about every step of your process. So here, we wanted to make sure that you have the flexibility again to choose which component has to be scrapped or is failing the quality check. Not only that, as you can see here, I can say only one of them failed my quality check, but to take it a step further, we also allow you now to send your defect components to a certain location. In my case, I don't want to scrap it right away. I actually want my engineers to take a look at it, so I can choose the location where I want to send the product to. So in my case, it has to go to the engineering lab. I can confirm. And as you can see here, you have a perfect overview of what is happening in your transfer. Which component failed the quality check? Which components passed it? So we can see that the one that passed can directly go to stock, and the component that failed the quality check can directly go to the engineering lab because I chose so. So I can just go ahead and now validate, so my team from the inventory knows where to bring the components, so I can go ahead and validate. And as my engineers are taking a look at the wiring, I want to come back to the costing. So, as I've showed you before, we have an accurate overview of how much a production process is costing me as I'm working on it. But another amazing feature is the fact that, let me just go back to the manufacturing overview. For any of you who have used analytic distributions before, you'll be very happy to know that from now on we can also use them in the manufacturing application. So if you go to manufacturing and you go to the miscellaneous tab, you can see that now we not only have analytic accounts, but we have the analytic distribution. And in my case, I have 3 clients, as I said, and 50% I want to be accounted for more like from the total cost to the European Spatial Agency, and the remaining 50 can be equally distributed amongst the other two clients. So just by easily setting up these distributions, automatically all the costs are accordingly distributed once I finish my whole production process. And if we go back for a second to my projects here, and we quickly go to my European Spatial Agency, as you can see here, now I have an extra tab with materials for 5,000 euros because 50% I wanted to go to the European Spatial Agency, and automatically the costs are correctly accounted for. So no more adding and differentiating between the analytic accounts. Everything is automated for you. And I just quickly showed you this feature, but make sure not to miss out the talk of Charlotte, because she will really deep dive into how you can manage your costing efficiently in production using this feature.
That's amazing.
Right? I know. So excited. So, at the same time, as I was showing this to you, my engineering team took a look at the wiring, and unfortunately, I have to scrap the product after all, my prototype, because they couldn't fix it. So, that's fine. I can just go ahead, create a scrap. So for my spatial solar panel, and since it was in the engineering lab, that's where I send it to, I can just adjust it here, okay? And now I will scrap it. Again, talking about full integration. Here as well, we wanted to add something useful for you. Now, when you scrap something, you will have the flexibility to choose whether or not you want to replenish whatever you're scrapping. In my case, I always want to have 2 prototypes in my stock, and since I have to scrap one, I want to make sure that I replenish it. And you will be able to do so by clicking here on the replenish directly from your scrap. And if I validate, what happens is that automatically, for me, a new manufacturing order is created. So I can start my whole process all over again. So I can now choose a different construction. So again, I will use my aluminum sheets. I'll need 5 of those. I'll also need a charge controller. I'll need 2 of those. And this time I will add a power optimizer. And I only need 1. All right. So I can confirm my manufacturing order. Again, I ask my team to bring me all the components. So that's what we're doing here. We can validate the transfer, and we can go ahead and produce this. So as I'm producing, I can now again do the quality check. In this case, I was in luck because I can pass my quality check. And actually, my quality team told me that this is a very good prototype, and they would like to save this combination and whatever it is that we did during the production process. Now in Odoo 17, you have this amazing feature for any client who doesn't have predefined bills of material, that in one click you can easily generate your bill of material that is fully pre-filled out for you based on any action that you have done. So imagine, especially for engineering processes where you have long production processes, you have so many steps, you don't have to go ahead and repeat everything in your BOM. It's done for you in one single click. So there we go, we save, and just like that, all the problems that I've had before are solved for me, just in a couple of clicks.
Voila, amazing.
I know.
All right, so just to recap what Milana just presented, so all the situation in terms of managing the bill of materials is quickly solved thanks to the possibility to prototype and create a bill of materials once you find a good combination.
Yeah.
Then about the cost tracking, crystal clear. You can definitely allocate the costs according to your need. And in terms of quality assurance, this is amazing. You can move the products to different locations according to the result of your quality check.
Full flexibility.
Perfect, Milana, thank you. Right, so now it's time to talk about the last company. They are called Nice Cream. They are a large company that produces, as the name suggests, ice cream. And they're following here the logic of make to stock, as they are producing a product that is not sold in the same way during the year. They need to make sure that they have the correct amount of products in stock according to the month.
Yep.
Recently, they invested some money to replace their machinery, so now they have machines that almost don't require human intervention. And they are struggling with the following pain points. First of all, the production plan is not that accurate, so sometimes they see something that should be done in a work center, but the work center is already busy or blocked, so mess. As they're in the food industry, the traceability is paramount for them because they need to make sure that the right lot is consumed in the right manufacturing order. And as I said, the process is very automated, so they cannot afford having downtimes. Let's take a look in the database and see how Nice Cream will improve their process using Odoo 17. Right, we'll start first talking about maintenance, because now in Odoo 17, we have the possibility to manage our equipments, creating more than one schedule to have preventive maintenance per equipment. This is amazing. We have this recurrency according to the need of each task. So for instance, when we check our calendar, let me switch to the calendar view, and I will search by conveyor belt 1, just to be easier to see what I'm going to show. If I check my calendar per month, I see that I have, in a weekly basis, the task to clean the motor. And once a month, I will do a different task, which is checking the rollers. So this is amazing because there are, of course, more than one task to be done for the same equipment. And then now, thanks to this new possibility to have the recurrent tasks according to different time frames, I can be more precise, give the correct maintenance to my equipment, and definitely avoid the downtimes.
That's so convenient.
Yeah. But maybe what is not convenient, Milan, is the schedule that I created for you, because I am in charge of doing the tasks on Wednesdays, and you will be in charge of doing on Saturdays. Sorry.
It's okay. I'll take one for the team. It's okay.
Right. Let's come back to the maintenance, because now I want to show you a second new feature here in Odoo 17. I will process this maintenance task of cleaning the motor. And what I want to show you now is the possibility to use the worksheets to either follow the steps that you need to do in order to perform the maintenance, but also to input some information to enrich the database according to what you see. Now, when we process the worksheet, imagine that I am the person doing the maintenance. I have my tablet, I go to the equipment, I can see easily the steps I need to follow. So I say, okay, I lubricated the roller bearings, I removed the debris, I checked the oil level is medium, fine so far, and I will take a picture of my rollers to make sure that they are in a good condition. So all is recorded here, so my maintenance is done. When I come back to my task, I see that the worksheet is complete. And as you can see, this maintenance task was scheduled to be done today. And the simple fact now that I move this task to the repaired stage makes the recurrence run again, and then Odoo will create automatically for me the next task, which is now scheduled in 1 week. So it's much more convenient now because I don't need to all the time check if I have the maintenance or not, because Odoo will create the next one for me.
No issues with planning.
Not at all. And the last point I want to show you here is the possibility that we have now to book maintenances for equipment as usual, but also for the whole work center. So imagine that in this case, I want to, to clean my work center production line 1. And please keep in mind production line 1 because I'm coming back to this in a minute. Right, I say that my internal team will take care of it, and I will book this maintenance tomorrow starting at 8 a.m. sharp, right? So there we go. And unfortunately, this is a very long process. This will take 8 hours, so all day long, and I need to block my work center. All right, I will keep this maintenance task here for the moment because if you remember well what I said in the beginning, they had some planning issues. And let's switch a bit the subject. We are going back to this in a minute. I will mention how they can manage the manufacturing process for ice creams according to the seasonality. First thing, they can definitely use the master production schedule because, as I said, now in November, I don't need to produce a lot of ice creams.
A bit too cold.
For sure. And during summertime, yes, of course, I will produce much more. That being said, as you can see that now in November I produce only 100 units, and I will trigger my production according to what I defined in my forecast. As soon as I do that, I will move to manufacturing orders. I see that I have one MO to produce the 100 units, but I want to be efficient, and then I will split my production because I have 2 production lines that I could use in parallel, so why not doing 50-50? I can go faster, much more efficient in this way. So what I'm going to do here is to split this manufacturing order in 2. And I'm planning to start the first manufacturing order tomorrow at 8 a.m. and I will be in charge of that. And at the same time, tomorrow, I want to start also at 8 a.m., the second part of a manufacturing order, and you, Milana, will help me with that, please.
Definitely.
Right. I split. I have 2 manufacturing orders now that I can easily see when I check my smart button. And what I'm going to do is to plan both of them. Right. When I check my planning, and I see here my planning by work center, if you remember well what I just said, my production line 1 will be off all day long. So now I don't have that kind of problems anymore, because Odoo, knowing that production line 1 is off, will search what are the next work centers available for my production, and this is why I have 1 manufacturing order booked in production line 2 and the second one in production line 3.
That's amazing. No more planning issues or mistakes.
No, not at all. Well, and as I already have my manufacturing orders, they are planning, let's jump into the execution. But now I'm not talking about the shop floor. What I want to show you now is another possibility to process manufacturing orders in Odoo 17, which is using a barcode app and a barcode scanner for that. In my case, I don't have a touchscreen device because it would be too complicated to display 2 screens at the same time, but I will use this barcode reader to simulate the same process of scanning, but the result is the same. When I log in here in my barcode app, as you can see, I defined myself as the responsible to produce one of the manufacturing orders, and this is why, as I arrive in production line 1, I see only my manufacturing order. I will start consuming my components. So the first one is the granulated sugar. So this one here.
Yeah, that's the one.
So let's scan it. Right? Then second product is my semi-sweet chocolate. Good. And the third one is the flour. Odoo says you need to consume lot A, but wait, what I have here is lot B.
Sorry,
Milana, did you take lot A?
Yes, I'm sorry. It was the closest one. I didn't want to disturb you.
Oh, okay, no problem. Because in the end, as I'm using a barcode reader, I don't have traceability issues anymore because I simply scan here the flour, lot B, and I could also use the touchscreen device, create the lot number for my finished product, and record my production without any issue in terms of traceability.
That's amazing. So convenient. You can head it over.
Well, but this is only an introduction about the possibility to use the barcodes to record your production. Don't miss the talk that will be given by Loic this afternoon because he's going to explore in more details the possibilities using barcode.
All right. Well, Lucas, you seem to be blowing everyone's mind with all these new features. And as it comes to Nice Cream, they were having struggles with inaccurate planning, which is the worst. But now, given the fact that you have work centers that are blocked for you, so you have a perfect overview of whatever your planning must be look like, it will automatically reschedule if any maintenance has been last minute booked or whatnot. And also when it comes to maintenance, you now, again coming back to the planning, have a perfect overview of whatever needs to be done. And we know how important maintenance is, so you won't miss out on any of them. And when it came to traceability and inventory, especially when we're in a production where we don't have a lot of time and we just quickly need to record for the traceability, of course, what it is that we're consuming, now you'll be able to do so just in a couple of clicks using our barcodes. All right. So we've covered a lot today. And if you remember correctly, at the beginning of the talk, we said that we wanted your 2 main takeaways to be that Odoo is the solution to all your problems. It will make your management process so much more efficient. It will free up a lot of your precious time so that you can really focus on your core business, which is the most important part. And on top of that, as the costs are rising, and Lucas mentioned the inflation, I mean, it's just impossible to beat our pricing. And all of that, exactly, thanks Lucas, and all of that while being open source, too passionate, all of that while being open source. I mean, guys, we rest our case. But in case some of you are not convinced yet, well, here's the list of talks that are happening here in this same room this afternoon. So please, we invite you to stay and enjoy all of them. And the first one will be Mathieu, our product owner. He will really deep dive into the power of our new shop floor applications. So definitely stay tuned for that.
As I said in my presentation, Anna will explain in more detail how to manage your manufacturing in the employee level.
Yeah, and if you forget to ask us any questions or you have a very interesting question that pops along, make sure to ask all the hard questions to Lucas and Mathieu because they will have an Ask Me Anything session after that. And as we showed you the barcodes, Loic will show you in depth how you can use this tool in your production.
And if you want to learn more about the new manufacturing overview, don't miss the talk that will be given by Anna at 4:30 as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I also quickly touched base on the power of analytic distribution, but Charlotte will really show you how amazing this feature is and how it can make your production cost tracking so much more efficient.
And Milana, before we finish, let me just say 3 quick things.
Yes?
Thank you, Anna,
Thank you.
Loic, Charlotte, and Anna for being such amazing experts. Second, thank you, Mathieu, for being the best product owner.
100%.
And last but not least, thank you, all of you, for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you, Lucas.
All right, thanks a lot, guys, for that presentation. We get actually a lot of questions here, and compliments as well from the audience.
Oh, thank you.
So we're gonna dive right in. The first one is: are used products the same product